Here we are again.
Here we are again. Yeah, that's great. Nice. Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm very, very tired. So
All right,
tired.
that was all for today. We're really tired. See you next week. We'll be the
Boom.
fastest podcast in the history of the podcast.
The fastest
Yeah,
podcast in the world.
that will be really easy to do, but it's not going to work in our life today. We have a big podcast because I'm actually want to get a little serious today. If you see that I'm moving, looking down, it's because I actually work a little bit and create. Oh, you're gonna get serious.
I was gonna say I'm gonna do
Yeah,
up the top button because we're serious.
there you go.
That looks like ass.
um, there's a lot happening in the world. This is our fourth podcast, and as you know, and everybody knows, because we're humans, right, and we live in this earth. Elections are coming, and the way that entertainment play in the elections is a big matter. People don't get it. People don't want to assume it. A lot of them are really awoke in this situation, but we need to take it from the start. Politics and entertainment, right? All the climate that is going. We know the key players. We know we don't care about the six guys that they want to talk and to get attention and get funding from their campaign. We need to talk about how Donald Trump is using entertainment and mass media to get a following again. And obviously, the situation that happened a couple of days back, I don't know if you know about it. Biden is ill, so Kamala Harris, they're considering for her to step up. She was in an interview.
Yeah, there's
Answering.
a. But to be fair, there's been a lot of talk about that since Joe Biden started running.
Let
Um,
me tell you why. Because I'm Joe Biden.
we have
That's
a
it.
on the Average Intelligence podcast. We have a soundboard, and one of the sounds, and we play it quite often, is when Biden was flubbing the international pressure. He's like, "Sure,
Yeah.
international pressure."
Yeah, that's funny. We should get Nina here when I did this. You gotta put a he's smelling the hair of a baby or of a kid or whatever.
You know,
Um,
can I say something about that really quick?
Go ahead.
Because my political philosophy, I'm very much a moderate, but I seem to be the kind of moderate that just makes both sides angry. So when that was happening, when all that was going around and Joe Biden was like sniffing people left, right, and center, I said to everyone, I was like, listen, do I think he's like some sort of like pervert? Not really. I just think the guy just doesn't have a freaking clue. But why has at no point in this man's career, and the dude's pushing 80, why has no one ever come up to him and been like, Joe, stop sniffing people? It freaks him out.
Yeah,
And for that matter, when a child or woman does this, when you're trying to get closer to them, stop trying to get close to them.
yeah. Means no, Biden. I need to make a t-shirt about that. Means
This
no,
means
Biden.
no.
I get it, but you know what? Let's go back a little bit with him. Somebody watch an interview with Biden before the stroke. The guy's a different person. The guy's full of life. His jaw is tighter. His jaw, right? His eyes are open. Then obviously he got sick. But my question is, and probably everybody's like, what the hell? Are we talking about this a politics podcast? No, it's entertainment. Because believe it or not, everything will land in entertainment and everything that you're gonna start watching on TV, movies, TV shows, the shows in the morning, right? Everything is going to be targeting and separating the sides to see going to go against blue or red. Green never is going to win. Liran is never going to win. At least not this time. And
Well,
and
let's not this election, but I think
not this,
another
not this.
I think another thing that people forget is it's not like, Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican ever to run. It was a new political party. Um, you know, the Whigs won a few seats. I think there's at least one Whig president, if not two. Um, at a time there was a time where the Democratic Party was pretty well split between the more moderate Northern Democrats and the Southern Dixiecrats. Yeah, it's so weird because so many things in politics are treated like it's been this way forever because it seems that way, but this country has really really terrible short-term memory loss because it's always
Yeah.
like everybody talks about the two-party system like it's been this way forever. It's like, no, this is actually, in the scheme of things, it's pretty well been a two-party split, but those parties have changed and there's been, you know, shit stirrers and usurpers in the form of third parties, many of which have actually impacted elections, maybe not won, but and even most recently, some would argue that in 2016, Gary Johnson and the Libertarian Party took enough votes away from Democrats. Some people say this. I don't think this is what happened, but some people say that the Libertarians took away enough votes from the Democrats to cause Hillary Clinton to lose the election. And before that, Ross Perot probably did take enough votes away
I
from,
remember the Ross Perot
yeah,
situation. Yeah.
he probably did take enough votes away from H.W. Bush for Clinton to win.
I get that, but I think that that's a prearrangement between the other parties to make it work. That is not something that is really open in America, but in a lot other parts in the world, France, Spain, Mexico, they arrange those situations. Because if we do a voting situation right now, Latinos will vote for me, right? White America will vote for you. That's a natural matter. But African American maybe go for me, right? So I need to make sure that you don't get those votes. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring a second uh, lieutenant, vice president, whatever the situation is, black. So I remember the Ross Perot situation. It was for me. It was already created. Um, what brings me for a movie that comes to my mind, Nixon versus, what was the name of that movie? Amazing movie. Oh, I can forget it. It's about Nixon and it's an interview. It's based on true story, and it's about a guy that is interviewing Nixon after he's the president, and it's so hard because part of the interview is do not talk about Watergate. Do not. And actually, it was a 6 segment interview, an hour a day. And number 3, he said, let's talk about Watergate. And Nixon open up, like open up. Um, I couldn't find Safari in the computer, but I remember Nixon versus Frost. Highly
Hmm.
recommend that movie. It will open your eyes to a lot of situations that we're living nowadays. Because something that doesn't stop surprising me, like you say, the short memory that we have when it comes to politics. I don't know if anyone's obviously somebody can relate. You are drunk with your friends and you just start talking shit. There's always one guy that's gonna start talking about politics, and he will come with the whole solution how to solve the world, right? But then when you wake up all hangover, you can't do anything about it. And guess what? He's gonna grow up, become a dad, and then his kids gonna have the same conversation uh, with their friends. My point is like, I'm not asking everyone let's raise our hands and become a better. No, let's just focus on what we can control, and if something that we can control, and I was getting tired of the background, so I couldn't do my things. Supposedly, we can control the votings, right? If you go and vote, supposedly, because we don't know at the end who votes. Legally, we're supposed to vote for what we want, right? The last 2 elections, we know the problems that have been with the voting. We know everything, and I just encourage everyone to go and vote because it's absurd that it's not about you not voting, it's who's going to use your vote against the whole society, if that makes sense. Corruption is in every corner. Uh, there's a lot of movies that we can talk about this, right? There was a movie in the 90s, 80s. with what was the name of the actor that played Dick Tracy? Warren
Ah,
something. And I'm talking about probably 1989. And because today, guys, let me tell you, I'm not using my computer or my iPad. I'm actually using my phone to make this podcast. I can look to anything because all my apps are in the phone, right? So even I got a great computer in front of me, guess what? It's not my computer. I'm using my sister's computer because I'm visiting here and I cannot go to IMDb. Warren something. What was the name of that actor?
well, let's see real quick because I fortunately have a phone.
Oh, now you think you're better than me. What are you going to tell me later? That you have a property?
I'm
Warren
definitely.
Beatty.
Oh wow, I was right.
Warren,
I didn't want to say it, but yeah, I did think it was Warren Beatty. But I was like,
Warren Beatty. That he make another movie called The Bull something. I know, sorry. You guys know, if you've been following this podcast, this is fourth episode, you know that I got to do that trail of mine. I got to go to the movie that I remember. Then I go to the movie that I want to talk about. He got a movie about the Bullsworth. Remember that movie? 1998 Bullworth. I will not name it for the recommendation, right? A suicidally delusional liberal politician puts a contact out of himself to take the opportunity to be bluntly honest with his voters and affecting the rhythm and speech of the hip hop music and culture. If you haven't seen that movie, watch it. And that's when our memory in politics is so short. This movie was 1998. If you see the problems that they're raising and the solutions, is the same that we're talking today. It's the same bullshit.
oh,
Nothing has changed.
you're speaking my language now. As we established in the marketing for this podcast, I'm the idealist, but I'm a jaded idealist. But one of the things that always makes me feel better about politics, and I can cite historical examples, you can always count on the hubris of the establishment. For
Yes.
example, see Donald Trump in 2016. Every single poll, major poll, every news outlet, every media personality. Oh well, Hillary Clinton's going to win. Donald Donald Trump's not even going to get past the primary. Donald Trump gets past the primary. I mean, obliterates the primary. Well, Hillary Clinton's going to win. You know, blah 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 blah. And then we have President Trump. Now, the right is doing the same thing now, which I caution them on. But that's going to be an interesting race, and there's a lot of time between now and then because everybody's asking me, who do you think's going to win? I'm like, honestly, it depends. There's so many factors. It depends on if they roll out unsolicited mail-in ballots again. It depends on whether or not Trump is convicted of any of these things and which convictions. Biden is just getting brought up on impeachment. That was announced today. McCarthy's
Today.
pursuing impeachment. You know, now that would be very interesting. Let's say Biden gets impeached. Are they going to start running? Are they going to start running Kamala Harris? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I really think that. Um, okay, let's go to the impeachment. Let's go back to Trump. If he get, you know what would be extremely badass, right? My best years in America as an entrepreneur is being in the Trump administration, and I'm a Latino guy. So don't tell me about racism or bullshit. I got a lot of support of that administration since good treatment to improve numbers. Yes, I bought my first Ferrari. Thank you to Donald Trump. So I'm extremely grateful. And then Biden administration make me sold it because the business go up and down, and I get that. But it's, my point is, it will be extremely badass. He wins the chair, and he's the president. His first action is to pardon himself. That would be the best badass situation for a movie I ever seen in my life.
Well, this is why the Florida DA, not Florida, sorry, the Georgia DA is
Georgia,
trying. To,
yeah.
she's trying to keep it in the state of Florida because a cannot
And
be president cannot be pardoned on a state charge.
I get that, but he could pardon himself for every possible similar case around the nation, and he will never just put a step in Florida.
Well, okay, and so here's the other thing, though. Now, what's funny because we did an entire podcast where we went through the Georgia indictment, and here's the interesting
Yeah.
thing: after reading it, I completely understand why they're trying to keep it in Fulton County, Georgia, and why they're making it a RICO case. Here's the problem: those are going to be very difficult to do, considering the fact that a lot of the things that are listed in the RICO, like a lot of the alleged actions, took place outside of the state of Georgia.
Okay.
Now, if they're part of the conspiracy, but a lot of this is loose. I think it was something like 9 of the actions are just tweets, which is protected free
Yeah.
speech. And a lot of the tweets were actually just Trump saying, hey, this hearing is on this channel, go watch it.
Yeah, because he's a master of the media manipulation. Now, don't take me wrong. I love the guy. If you don't like me, it's really easy. You just click to the right and you can see another fucking video. I'm always been a Trump supporter. Always. I remember when it was the election night of the last term, and I got 2 letters written because at that time I was the chairman of the board for CIA Multinational Corporation in LA. I got 2 letters. Depending who wins, right? That letter goes out, right? And I remember the letter with Hillary Clinton was we need to support, believe. It was a letter assuring that the males in our company we will not judge, we will just execute and believe. I remember the other letter that it was about pro Donald Trump that it says we need to just build bridges between society and races to make it work. See, hope and reality. That was the letters. When Donald Trump won, I sent that letter, and seriously, it was probably the best 4 years in my life economically. The RICO case for me is absurd. Now, there's something if you go and you get stopped by a cop, right, and you decide not to provide your ID, they can charge you. But let's assume that he want to take you out of the car and you resist, and then you start fighting with the cop, and humor me. Then you hit the cop you step on the foot of the cop's foot, right? And then he complains because he got an ingrown nail, right? And they arrest you, but the handcuffs, right? They broke because they were defective. Well, for a normal person that doesn't know, is like he resists arrest, he's going to jail. No, no. The American system prevails that he was assault because he fought, resisting arrest, damages and plagiarism to the cops that is a federal authority. So he will be looking for 12 years just for that simple thing because they pack everything. Why? Because if you pack more, you got more federal funds for the total numbers because you have a rate of crime. So that simple crime of don't giving your ID or just raise your voice to a cop, it becoming 4 or 5 acts that they will raise a number, and that number when they go to the budget they say, well, we have 38 cases of assault. You're like, oh, a second, somebody did this to a cop? That's not assault, but they put it assault so they get more federal funds. The RICO case in Donald Trump, they're piling up everything that comes to the imagine of the DA, and this is for the judge to decide if that goes through. And if that goes through, then we go to trial. If it's not a arrangement outside court, and I'm not a lawyer in America, everybody knows I'm not a lawyer, but I see the law and order too much. I'm just kidding. By the
Well,
way, my band made a cover of the Law and Order. Have you seen that in our
oh
thing?
God, no, no, I have not.
We did. I was bored, and then I called Nina. Hi, Nina. Nina is, for everyone that doesn't know, is our media manager, editor, creative image in the back of again. Uh, this is so funny. I don't know if you saw, guys, the last podcast. The first time that we did that, it looks so funny. Um, we did the intro of the Law and Order, but with our faces, and we did a metal version of the soundtrack. It's really funny. We don't have too many likes, but the people that like it, they put nail it. That's amazing. And it was really cool. It was just for fun. But sorry, going again to the point.
Well,
I'm a
no,
rebel,
so
remember?
yeah, but talking about that Rico case again, I mean, here's the thing. So it's not quite as loosey goosey as I thought it was because Georgia, the federal RICO statute mandates that, or basically the way it reads, is that it has to be an enterprise pursuant to profit. However, the Georgia RICO statute, as far at the state level, does include political enterprise. Now, that being said, so the RICO case, and again, I'm not a lawyer either, but as far as I read it, now there are some actions that I'm going to say, if they're true, only in the sense that they haven't been proven in a court of law yet. I fully believe that they happened. These are things that Donald Trump did not physically do. They're things that people who were working for the Donald Trump campaign in some capacity did do. Most notably, harassing that poll worker in the state of Georgia. Now, that's why they want the. But here's the thing. That's why
Keep
they want.
going. Yeah, no, I'm trying to hold myself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they want it to be a RICO case because there's I suspect there's no evidence because I suspect he never actually said yeah go do that. There's no evidence to tie that to Donald Trump, but that's not what RICO was designed to do. RICO was designed to take down the mafia bosses, but if it's not a RICO case, they don't have very much on Donald Trump individually at all. And they don't have too much on any one particular person. But if they can actually convince a jury and a judge first, they have to convince a judge first and then a jury that there was a conspiracy. But here's the flip side of it. And actually, I think it's the elder millennial on TikTok because I didn't even think about this until he pointed it out. Trump and his attorneys now have subpoena power. So all they have to do is find evidence of legitimate voter fraud somewhere. And it doesn't really matter what the scope is. Because all they have to do is find, see, it happened here, and therefore we had reason to believe it happened elsewhere.
And maybe Donald Trump just watched how white men can jump and listen to the advice of the girlfriend saying sometimes you need to lose to win. Sometimes you win that you need to lose. Let me put an example with this situation. I know I'm gonna go another way around, but stay with me. I don't know. Are you an NFL fan?
No, I'm a college
Do you
football
like?
guy.
Okay, yeah. Nobody's perfect, but I still love you. It's okay. In 2000 and I don't know 19, the coach Sean Payton from the New Orleans, he got accused because he was motivating the players to injure the opposite player, injured, not hit hard, injured, and they will get a bonus of that. That's what he got accused. He got suspended for the league 1 year, then he got back. I will go to the movie that is about this, a great comedy with the chubby guy, because I cannot say fat anymore. Well, the fucking fat guy from Adam Sandler gang. What is the name of the guy?
Chris
Uh,
Farley?
no. I wish Chris
Kevin
Farley were alive.
Kevin James.
Kevin James, he'll make a movie about this. Really good movie, family movie. Watch it. You guys gonna laugh. Is the year that he was suspended. He goes back and actually coach a football team for his kid. And it's a real life story. Really good. If you have watched it, spoiler alert, the guy that is sweeping the office is actually the real Sean Payton that is doing a cameo on the movie. It's really funny movie. It's not really funny. It's a good movie to watch. Anyway, he got accused and suspended, right? And the league went hard of it. Let's assume government, league, right? You have their own thing, union, everything. He never knew about this. The defensive coordinator is the one that talked to financial and said, I need a bonus for good achievements. He went to the defensive players, the back end players, said, if you injure the other guy, you will make this amount of money. He never knew about it. Is he responsible for not to knew about it? Yes. If he's responsible of somebody in your team mistake, maybe. So going back to reality, not football. When you're in the top of the mountain as a leader, is your job is to find the right team that it will not mess it up, that will procure to accomplish the goals, and is going to protect you. the perspective of protect, it will go bias there, because if I'm seeing that there's a fraud and my boss is gonna lose in my beliefs for my country, I will go and kick the shit out of it. If this happened in 1990, it was gonna be a good brawl, right? And then we'll be drinking beers. Now, if you say something, they go, "Oh, I was harassed." Shut the fuck up. You were doing fraud. There's cameras showing how you're fucking things up. Don't play victim if you're doing a crime. Don't play victim. Again, I'm a Trump supporter, right? Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I missed that. I'm not gonna call myself a Trump supporter. I think that between the two options is the best one. So I don't want to live again with a guy that smells hair, that doesn't know what's going on, and he doesn't know the difference between the First Amendment and cleaning his ass because he's so old that he doesn't have the capability of rule anymore.
Well, and let's not forget, this is the same guy who, when we already have high gas prices, he closes down the Alaska new leases, no more new leases, and it's like for the environment. Do you know how big Alaska is, bro? Not to mention that he canceled the Keystone XL pipeline and then wondered why gas went up.
Oh, let's be fair. Let's be totally fair. Donald Trump would take the follow of the RICO and he will go to jail. How humor me. Because even he didn't know the other people was connected to him, all right? But then Biden gonna start protecting his son to be a fucking drug dealer, and all of them will go for trafficking and distribution.
Oh, that's why I cannot wait for this. Because here's the thing. I think I think McCarthy was waiting for more evidence. I think this is coming a little too early, but he's got pressure, right? So, but I do believe, like, I know a couple people who have seen some of the evidence on the Biden laptop. Obviously, I can't tell you who they are for reasons, mostly for just their livelihood. Um, there's like based on what I've seen and read, and I haven't seen all of it. Some of it's still classified. Like, dude, he's guilty. Like, come on, he's guilty.
But then it goes again. If you have the power of being the president and your son is fucking up, your friend or whatever, and you know that he's going. And let me stop there before I'm going to go back. You know what is beautiful about the American culture that I love? Is that if you're a victim, we can forgive you. If you're honest, but you don't show regret, you are guilty. But if you are honest because you were doing something wrong, but you show regret, we believe that you have a second chance.
To a certain extent, yeah. That's kind of
To,
it's kind of going away, honestly. But I know what you're
it's
talking
kind
about.
of going away, but my point is that's the general culture, right? In my perspective, there's been many businesses that they've been happening since the Biden administration that we don't even know about, that we don't even understand, that we don't even perceive, but it's been beneficial to the people that they already have money. And I understand that paying a Lamborghini gotta be a really bad insurance. But when you have people in Wichita that doesn't have a job, you have more than 3,000 actors in Los Angeles that doesn't have money to pay an apartment. When you have people in Alaska that they lost all their jobs and income, and being homeless in LA is cool. Being homeless in Alaska is called hypothermia, right? So
No, being homeless in Alaska is living off the land, son.
yes, Wolverine, calm down. We just need to, and people will say, what the hell this got to do with entertainment? Well,
Everything.
for a start, for a start, the movie that I told you is called Home Team. That is Kevin James, like you say. Watch it, really good. There's a movie that I invite everyone to watch. It's one of my favorite movies. It's called The Sum of All Fears. Could be my favorite movie of all time. This movie is part of the um, Tom Clancy movie. I think Tom Clancy is one of the best writers of our time. And this is when what was the name of the character? Jack Ryan is young. Is when he just started, right? And he's under William Cabot, that is played by Morgan Freeman. Jack Ryan is Ben Affleck, right? And it's a prelude of the movies of Harrison Ford. If you see everything that goes around just to protect the possibility of an attack, you will, and then you movies, and like back in the day, Shakespeare show us with their novels and their plays what it was happening with society. Movies tell us everything nowadays. I hope that is for the best and the best for the people. Whoever wins, we just need to adapt. Because doesn't matter if tomorrow we Biden decide to give the whole country to fucking Ukraine, not just the money. Not just the money. Just decide, you know what? We're gonna be Ukrainian from now on. That was my bad impression of Biden, right? Sorry.
They said, yeah, the thing.
You know, sometimes what is the name of the senator that when you ask him something he goes blank? What's his name?
Oh, jeez. I know his name. I keep saying
No,
McCarthy, but Mitch McConnell.
McConnell. I think that he's John Biden's best advisor. Because one asked, and the other was like,
like, but seriously though, there's three people in government right now that I can think of. Well, three that I can think of off the top of my head that should no longer be in government. Mitch McConnell's one of them. Dianne Feinstein's another one, and Joe Biden's the third.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Now,
but when you sign power of attorney over to your daughter, why in the actual fuck are you
you're
allowed
not
to vote?
qualified to govern. Yeah, you're not qualified to govern. There's an interview that everybody gotta watch. I'm googling because I want the name of for every one of our followers.
Well, while you're doing that, I was going to. This is just food for thought. Listeners, viewers, all the above. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not pointing you in a particular direction, but I love telling the story because it illustrates a point that I make often. So, actually, this is the path of how I know Joe Biden's guilty. So, in 2014, I'm in a Starbucks. I don't drink coffee, but my girl at the time is getting a coffee, so I'm just sitting there. And you know how coffee is? It's stupid. It's like, oh, I want a cup of filtered bean piss with 3 cups of shit and a half pump of what the fuck ever. You know, it takes.
And we have 3 sizes. We have one in Nigerian, one in African, and one in Russian. What is the difference? Oh, no, it's just the same. We just want to look fancy. I know.
Yeah.
I hate.
So I'm chilling and I see a random copy of USA Today. So I pick it up and I'm thumbing through it, and then on page 6, I see an article talking about how Hunter Biden has been brought on to the board of the largest natural gas company in Ukraine. First of all, okay, so I'm also going to share a pet peeve of mine. Like, I'm sorry, they've been gaslighting you when it comes to Ukraine forever. So it said Joe Biden's son Hunter has been added to the board of Burisma Holdings, the largest natural gas company in the Ukraine. And this is shortly after Russia annexed the Crimea, after Russia's claim was that, and Ukraine did owe them a shit ton of money. They owe them a metric fuck ton of money for natural gas that they didn't pay, and, well, you know, things happen. But explain to me any logical reason as to why the son of the current vice president of the United States, who has zero experience whatsoever in the industry sector, becomes a board member of the largest natural gas energy company in the Ukraine, after the United States has become the world's largest exporter of natural gas. Explain to me how this relationship works.
Let me tell you how. Let me tell you what. It's called US dollars and nepotism.
Oh, I know.
That's exactly what it is.
That's a rhetorical question.
Deeper on that.
Well, but I know, but there are still people who insist that somehow Hunter Biden got that job based upon his own merit. Bullshit. Could you imagine?
Think about it. He got it on his own merit. Imagine being the son of that fucking asshole.
Well, but let's imagine for a minute, in a parallel Earth somewhere this happened. Donald Trump Jr. gets added to the board of could you imagine the conniption fit that the media in the United States would have had if Donald Trump Jr., who honestly would be more qualified than Hunter Biden.
Well, first of all, he's not hide all the time.
Well, there's that. I just mean in experience, right? But could you
Yeah.
imagine the conniption fit they would have had?
Let me
Could
tell you, I'm going to tell you the reality of what I support Trump. And no person in this earth will deny this. He has the hottest daughter ever. Ivanka Trump is the hottest thing ever. Not as much now, when he used to use the curly hair because before he was a president. So anyway, I just googling something and she popped out, so I needed to say that. I'm with you. He will be more. He will be better for a job like that. But remember what happened when the one part of the other start to learn how to be not to be a sore loser. This country will be better because you're doing the best for people to make to so people select their leader. But now, instead of spending 4 times trying to see how you fucked up, how me to go to the Senate and say, hey, no, say no. Whatever thing they say no. They work for the people. We will have their forget about names, forget about mistakes, forget about humans, sons, drugs, forget about all that. If the party that loses, it's not a sore loser, sorry, and works together for those 4 years to be the better, the next 4 years, that will be count on a record that being a sore loser for 4 years will make you the winner for 4 years. But we were spending years and years and years of every time we grew up and say, hey, you lost, shake your hand, right? And it was a good game. Hey, you lose, but you do your best. It's okay. But when it comes to politics, it's, oh, they win? I'm going to fuck you up. I will find every possibility in your 4 years of reign to fuck things up. And and before I leave the comments of politics, I want to share with you because I want to share this. I watched this on TikTok, blew my mind. I went back, started doing a little research, and with let me see, with Colbert, Stephen Colbert. That's how you pronounce it, Stem. He made an interview in 2020 to Obama that he asked him. I think it was Colbert. What do you miss about being a president? So I don't miss anything at all. I'm grateful that I'm in sweatpants and I don't have to be with a security all the time. And Colbert, or the person who was doing the interview, because I don't remember it was Stephen Colbert. I'm not sure. Say, well, will you be a president? And again, I said, only if I do it from my basement without me wearing sweatpants and just telling some moped what to do.
he can't be president again?
No. I know. But that's the only way he portrayed. The only way that he will be president if he was just working it from the basement,
Gotcha.
telling the other guy what to do, right? And who will the make sense? You
Oh,
see,
kind of. Oh, I jokingly called Biden's campaign "Oh Biden."
yeah, it's all Biden, Hilton. If you realize why, because he's not capable to rule anymore. Now that the impeachment is, I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. But he's not capable to rule anymore because he even gets lost walking from the helicopter to the house.
Don't get
He's
me
old.
started. Yeah.
He did great for the country when he was a vice president. He sadly got a stroke, and he doesn't have the full capability to rule the most powerful country in the world. I'm asking every one of you, if you own a business, will you put somebody to as the CEO, an old guy that doesn't remember what to do, or will you put somebody bright, ready to make your company the strongest one? If you are the coach of a football team, will you let your quarterback be a 90 years old, 80 years old guy just because he looks good in camera? No, you will put somebody to make good passes and leader the team. The reality is, in my perspective, that's what has been happening from the beginning. Like you say, Obama and Hillary Clinton have been pulling the strings of a guy that always wanted to be president, that the only way for him to be president is to obey everyone.
Well,
And
I suspect that's why Biden even got elected, point blank. Because let's be real. So I said from the very beginning that if it had been, say, like Bernie versus Trump, I honestly believe Bernie would have won because there,
well,
and not rightfully so, but just because of the landscape that was, because the media decided from day one that Donald Trump was the devil.
yeah.
So, but at least Bernie appealed to the far left contingent, which, as we've seen in recent years, that faction is growing. Um,
And correct me, who's the only party that use actors as politicians? The Red Party, right?
well,
Ronald Reagan.
successfully, maybe.
But what I'm saying is, we got to go back to the core of everything, and that's where this is an entertainment podcast. Don't forget that Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, was in my Home Alone 1 and 2. That I'm correct. And he
Uh,
was
to
in 2. Entertainment is ruling America, and is ruling big countries like India. I mean, the president of freaking, what is the name of the country that is in war with Russia?
oh, Ukraine.
That's how much I care about them. Because I did on purpose. The president of Ukraine was an actor. Have you seen the correspondent of the chief voice or whatever from Ukraine? The trans girl guy. Have you seen that?
Apparently not.
Oh, you will know what I'm talking about. The I don't remember the name. The person that talks for in the position, the person that talks to the media from the government. How do you call that?
Of
The voice
Ukraine? Oh, I don't.
of every part of every part of the world. How do you call that position in the government?
Like the press secretary?
No, the person that is in
Oh,
charge
the ambassador.
another
No.
name. But anyway, it's the person that is in charge to communicate everything to the media. The one from Ukraine is a transgender girl that was a guy but looks like a guy but dressed like a girl. I don't even know what it is, right?
So Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, but not funny at all, right? So I don't know what I went over there.
Okay,
Sorry
Toots.
for all the
Okay, Tootsie.
Tootsie. Oh, Tootsie's a
I
funny
was gonna
little
say
puppy.
Tootsie's funny. Tootsie's funny.
Tootsy's funny. Anyway, my point is that we just need to learn not to be a sore loser. We need to understand that entertainment is what is ruling everything. If you sit down and see the most successful shows are the ones that are gonna be demonized, Trump or the next whoever wins. We just need to learn not to be a sore loser, because today in the morning, usually I check all my emails, LinkedIn in this order. Then I go to TikTok, Instagram, just to check the social media. And I saw these people in TikTok, not just one, not two, like five, that they get together to do battles. And one says in the back, I support Trump. And the other one says, I'm against Trump. And they're using that to get likes to make a couple of dollars. How we're expecting to have a country like it was before, the most powerful country in the world. If we, Gandhi used to say, I think Gandhi said, the best example is start when you fix your own home first. We need to start fixing ourselves to keep moving forward. But you see, I'm getting too deep. I know. I guess we go to the next segment.
Well, no. There's two things real quick I'm going to touch on because not only Gandhi said
Yeah.
something to the effect that is actually let's see, where is it? Jordan Peterson's Rule 6 of 12 rules for life. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. And another thing you all need to know to just live a better and more fulfilled life is you need to learn how to recognize when they are trying to brainwash you. And here's the other example. So I like to read. I like to read a lot. I read a lot of different kinds of books, particularly history books, and I'm telling you, prior to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, their capital city was always pronounced Kiev, whether it be in books, whether it be on television, during the news, all that. And then overnight, all these snobby ass news anchors, including Anderson Cooper, probably most guilty, all of a sudden start pronouncing it Kiev. Now, I understand that Kiev is how you pronounce it in Ukrainian, and it would be one thing.
Really?
But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go back and watch. YouTube and Google are free. Go back and watch or read old articles prior to last year. Almost always they referred to the capital of Ukraine or the Ukraine as Kiev. And so to be an asshole, I still say Kiev. Now, that's partially to be an asshole and partially because, like, really, this is like the Ukrainian equivalent to freedom fries and freedom toast.
Okay.
Like, sorry, not sorry. The reason most other countries pronounce it Kiev is because the city was named originally after the Kievan Rus, the Vikings that
Rus. Yeah,
the Kievan Rus that settled the area after they became in service to the king of Constantinople. Blah 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 blah, and then all a bunch of very complicated and nomadic histories. But that is why most other countries, particularly English-speaking countries, pronounced it Kiev. I understand that in Ukrainian it's pronounced Kiev, but more people speak English than Ukrainian.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for the record,
And
the Japanese don't call Japan Japan; they call it Nippon.
Nippon. Yeah, well, but now you're going to why everything that is being said in America is supposed to be real. There's just a big controversy about the NBA that started 10 days ago. That I don't know. Have you seen the guy, the athletic guy? Suddenly, this podcast is still about the news, and I'm kind of love it. The guy, I don't know his name. He just won. He defeated Usain Bolt. He's now the fastest man on earth. You can Google it like that. He's American. He just won the world championship in 100 meters, 200 meters, and 400 meters hurdle, or something like that. And he went on a press conference and said, "You know what? It hurts me," and I'm not gonna paraphrase because I can't. He said, "You know what hurts me? That when you see the NBA, they call themselves the champions of the world. The champions of what?" He says. And it's something you're saying, or it comes to what you're saying, not because it's America, right? It is the right thing to do. However, the fact that they're trying to change the narrative into the way that we say things to create a more empathic way for us to see the mistakes that this government is doing to help other countries instead of helping their own, that I agree with you. I don't even want to go to Oppenheimer. Have you seen it?
No, I need to. I really, really need to. I haven't yet, but
You know what is hard? Nobody has even brought this to any one of my friends, not even forums that I look at. The narrative of the movie portrayed America like assholes with a goal, and that's not the real story. It's
at
not
least
far
it's
away from the truth.
at least
not
it's an
far away.
incomplete. It's at least an incomplete story.
Yes, but you and me understand that people that is 10 years old, when they see it, gonna believe that that's the truth. Like the same way in America, they think that Christopher Columbus was a good guy because somebody teaches that in America. When in Mexico, he was worse than Hitler. When in Portugal, he was worse than Hitler. Why? Because over there, the Columbus Day doesn't exist because he eradicated a whole race called the Aztecs just for money and for that's it, and glory back in his country. And the narrative of that says that he came and conquered and discovered America. He came, raped the women, killed the men, and took possession. Same with Netherlands, guys from Dutch people. and English people that came here and killed the Apaches and the Cherokees. I know that that was the way of life before, but at least here we have one Thanksgiving Day and 364 other days of Indian American complaining about what happened.
It's a funny story though. Do you know what Thanksgiving actually commemorates?
Please shoot me. I am dying to know.
Okay, so I don't remember the name of the tribe. I think it was the Powhatans, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But basically, when the English settlers landed at Jamestown, you know the famous story about Squanto and all that. That's why I can't
Yeah.
remember the specific tribe. So that part is accurate, but what you never get taught is that the tribe that Squanto hailed from basically said, "Yeah, yeah, we'll help you, but you know, it'd be really nice if you take your boomsticks and eradicate this other tribe for us, because they've kind of been coming to our lands and stealing our shit, and we kind of need your help to wipe them out." So they did, and the feast is to commemorate the cooperation of helping those English settlers get through the winter at Jamestown, while at the same time commemorating the slaughter of a rival tribe of Native Americans. But that slaughter was brought on by them asking the settlers for help.
So you see how we can complain about Biden's son. We've been doing it for centuries now.
Here's the difference though. At that time, and I'm so not defending it, but it's how the world was. Like Christopher Columbus was one of many people who did horrendous shit. And I guess it's not justification, but they all did horrendous shit. And prior to that, but like just to spin it on a more equal level, you know, how did the Aztec Empire rise to its own prominence?
To sacrificing people.
Well, they took over smaller tribes, and yes, they sacrificed, killed, raped, pillaged, all that good stuff. It's not
All that
justification.
good stuff.
It's
Yeah.
all that horrible stuff. It's not justification, but okay. So there's an expression when you're studying history. It really was coined for biblical history, but it applies. It's a German word called Sitz im Leben, which translates to situation in life, which basically is saying you cannot look at past events from a 21st or 20th century lens. You have to consider what was happening, how people were, what they would have known at the time.
The
Um,
historical context of the situation is
100,
important.
100%. So,
Why Christopher Columbus didn't went to jail, right? Because there wasn't newspapers. We start notice about what happened in the Second World War because it was the Second World War, right?
oh,
Remember what
let's be real. Let's be real. The king and queen of Spain wouldn't have given two shits. They were fine with
they
it.
wouldn't give in to fight. They just want their money back.
Exactly. They were fine. They were fine. They wouldn't have cared.
No, but my point is, but they wouldn't care. Probably some people will. Again, it was a different world. The context was
I'm sure
different.
some people would have cared, but they would have been in the minority.
But just from the, and I know you and me read a lot, and we're aware of everything that is going on in the world, or at least we try. Just tell me how many people have. Don't think about it. Just give me an answer. Restore it. How many people have died right now between Russia and Ukraine?
I
Couldn't
don't
care,
know off
bro.
the top of my head.
Me neither. Because we
Well,
don't care.
it's also really hard to get accurate totals, so I always take those kind of numbers with a massive grain of salt. Because, like for example, how many people died in communist China?
I don't know.
Nobody,
I don't.
nobody fucking
Nobody
knows.
knows. But that's a close country. Is different than a war country that we are supporting with our taxes. Remember
Well,
how much
true.
money Biden give them?
And how much did he
How
give
much
to
money?
Hawaii?
Don't even start. You know the thousand kids that they haven't appeared in Hawaii.
And somehow, I guarantee you, Hawaii will still vote blue.
Yeah. How much money Biden had give to Ukraine? I'm just gonna go crazy.
I don't.
$75 billion. Listen to that number.
I think more.
75.
But I think 140 billion has been earmarked. They just haven't sent it yet.
Okay. So far, $75 million. I'm gonna ask every one of the people that watch us, and they know that we have this podcast because we just fucking love it. That's it. We don't have an agenda. We don't have a political thing. If they don't like me, I can take a flight to my house in Canada and they never see me again. And I even start speaking French, right? This is about us giving our personal perspective of the situation.
Oh, comment ça va aujourd'hui?
Anyway, give me a second. 75 billion. If you give 1 billion to every state, 1 billion, just to whatever, just to put theater, forget about cops, forget about, just to support the live theater in every state with $1 billion and help the schools to go to theater will enhance the mind of the young people to learn. I'm not talking about Shakespeare. I'm not talking about Franklin. I'm not talking about James Joyce. No, not just to see a play about hip hop, if you will, right? The next 4 years, but that's the way that you create a legacy. When you implement a benefit to the young people that creates a memory of you to become better. 75 billion. I understand that people are in need. Don't take me wrong. There's people suffering in Ukraine. Okay, I get it. Let's not forget how Ukraine became Ukraine. It was the USSR, and they went to a revolution and split in many countries. I'm not a religious guy, but correct me because I probably know the phrase in Spanish. An eye by an eye.
Oh, an eye
That's
for
what
an
the
eye.
Bible says. An eye for an eye. If I conquered your land with blood, why you care what is taken back by blood? I'm not supporting the war. I'm being specific, being with historical events that has been happening with the lack or cultivate of my knowledge. Giving $75 billion to continue a war, that's not the way to help the world. That's the way to continue on bloodshed.
It's also a great
I'm
way to
not.
funnel. It's also a great way to funnel money.
Of course, of course. And I mean, what's the name of this drug dealer, famous drug dealer in Colombia, the Pablo Escobar?
Oh, yep.
He went like this. Yeah, guys, he know how to wash clean money using Ukraine. He's like, yeah, because and that's even sicker. They're using the pain of people to put more money in their pockets. We're not talking about. I will not feel bad if they give $5 billion to a country that is the size of a quarter of Texas. Okay, we're helping. We're America. We love people. We always open our mouth when we're not invited. I'm talking about us. I believe in myself as an American. I get that. For God's sake, 75 billion. When you have people in Detroit without house, when you have a rate of homeless people that need medical, psychological help in LA, when you have, and Google this, you don't want to trust me? Don't trust me. You want to fucking block me? Fucking block me. But when you have a guy with a mental ill, with a machete in Portland, in a child's park, attacking families, and nobody does anything because we don't have a budget, that's what has become bad. If we want to change, we need to start from our own house. And our own house start us, then our block, then our county, then our state, and then our country. I'm more than grateful that America opened their hands to me and my family. And probably I love this country more than somebody that brought me. I don't even know about that. The point, because I was getting really dramatic with the connection drop. I don't have a problem helping people, but just for the thing. $43 billion with a B has been sent to Ukraine. And sadly, only 1.4 is humanitarian. The rest is financial, and more than 40 million. Let me see, I got the numbers right here. More than 43 million of the whole amount is for military. So I'm asking you something. And I'm gonna close with this segment because we're going too deep. And this is supposed to be a fun thing. The next time that a Ukraine drone drops a missile and kills a family in Russia, it's our fault too, because we pay for it. And if it's not our fault, then don't come and say because some people harass a guy in Florida, we can blame Donald Trump. If we can blame the leader of everything, then you, Jake, me, and everyone that is watching this, we're responsible for every person dying in Russia because we're paying for the bombs when we pay our taxes last term. So just think about it when you're going to do a vote. Again, I don't have an agenda. I don't support everyone. I don't receive money. I don't give a fuck. I just want to be the best that I can with what the tools that we can provide. And the biggest tool that Jake and me have is communication. And that we're extremely handsome. Ahsoka. So that's what I want to close. I know it's too deep. You can tell me to fuck off. I appreciate your thoughts.
It's not too deep. I think these having political conversations without having it devolve into a shouting match is far too rare.
What
And
are you talking about? I'm just kidding.
you're wrong. You're stupid, man. How can
Oh,
you
you're
support
stupid.
how can you support that fascist? That's my favorite.
Yeah. It's like, well, how you can support it if you're Latino? I go like, oh, because actually the one that put everyone in a cage was Obama.
And you're like, como eso?
Exactly. Exactly. Now let's talk about something more light. Entertainment and the new COVID. Entertainment is gonna play a huge part in communication. I went to Blaine, Washington, and I travel a lot, as everybody knows, and I really don't enjoy flying as much. If I can avoid it, I do. Why? Because I don't. I trust the airplane. I trust the airline. The guy that is putting everything is as human as you and me, and has problems. Some of them drink a lot. They sleep really bad. Live in a hotel like rock stars. Work like rock stars. They don't have the money, the recognition. So I don't feel comfortable flying if I don't know the pilot. And if I'm flying in a private jet, I think it's more dangerous than a commercial jet. So it's a good quadrangle for me because I really hate flying. So I took the train to way to Blaine, Washington, that is in the border of Canada before crossing to Canada. And in the train, I saw a lot of people with masks already. And that made me feel really bad because the only way that people are following that trend, because it's a trend, is because social media and entertainment commercials. I don't know if you will love this. Univision has a commercial that says it's been proved. This is what it says. It's been proved that if you're Latino, you're more propense to get sick of COVID and die of COVID. It says that. The commercial is like a amateur bad feel of soccer, and he comes and he's like, "Where's the goalkeeper?" In Spanish, right? The guy's like, "Oh, we're friend Pancho, whatever the fucking name, right? He's sick of COVID. Oh, that's too bad. How are we gonna play together?" See the manipulation in that commercial, and then the thing says, if you go on and get a shot, use a mask, protect yourself and your family. It's been proved that Latinos has a most rate to get sick and die of COVID. When that happened, when that happened. So now this virus is so elegant that only attack every 4 years. Then select the race who's gonna attack, and it's really smart because if you were a piece of cloth that is not technological developed to protect a virus, and if you use an antibacterial, listen to that, people, bacterial virus, antibacterial virus. You see the fucking difference? Doesn't say antivirus. It's antibacterial. It's two different things. It's like cock and pussy. Two different things. They work together in sex, but it's two different things. So stop following the trend. This virus exists, yes. This virus hurt a lot of people, yes. It's under control, yes. It's gonna get back every season, yes. Just be fucking clean and stop using a stupid mask that at this point is dirtiest than your fucking nasal tubes. So that was my This second segment of the show has been really deep, but
Just do what I do and just tell people to stay the fuck away from you.
now you know what? Let's talk about entertainment right now. AMC theaters took a big hit with one of the companies with the biggest hit. Their stockholders in a magical, fantastic stock market move last week, probably 10 days. The stock market, the one share of a company was $1. Okay, this is an example. It's not exact numbers. So they say, how many shares do you have? Jake says, you know what? I got 20 shares. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise the price of $1 to $20, and we're gonna take your 20 shares and make it one share. It's a marvelous, fantastic move because now you earn one share of $20 and not 20 shares of $1. That changed the whole valuation of the company. Trust me, I know this
Is
because I'm
that
talking.
legal?
Yeah, of course, it's totally legal
Okay.
because everyone agreed and the SEC agreed. It's fine. It's totally fine. And it's a marvelous thought. The guy that came with that idea was perfect. But guess what? He didn't thought about at the moment that it would come $20. 3 days later, they went down to 14 and then to 8. So what was value for you $20 now is $8. That means that it was value one is now 30 cents. They didn't expect the market to react wrong on them. And AMC Theater, one of the biggest distributors to the audience, not to the services. Different distributors, Paramount, Universal, they have their own studios and production, but their distribution tools to send it to all around the world, to AMC, to Cinemark, to Cinepolis, to every part, different companies in the world. AMC is this close to die, and it will be a real shame because I love movies, right? And that will be a step closer of more control for you not to leave your house. We are people that lives going out. You do your job working for people. I maybe I haven't mentioned this. I own a waterless car wash. We clean the car in your house. We need to have contact with people. We need to pay salaries. Those salaries, people need to pay their bills. If we go into another fake quarantine, 110, 210, because quarantine means 40, quadro, right? Not 210, right? A year. Well, 365 teen.
I think you do know, based on that, you know the origin of the word quarantine.
Go ahead, please, enlighten us.
So and I'm having a brain fart. It was one of the Italian city-states. I think it was Venice. But during the Black Plague, and I say Venice because it was a port city, and I knew it was in Italy. In one of the Italian city-states, one of the rules they had to stop the spread of that disease was any ships coming in had to stay in a harbor, and the people had to stay on the ship for. It started 30 days, but then they extended it to 40, and then I think they extended it to 50, but they kept the name Quarantina. So that's where we got the
I
origin
thought
of the
that
word
was
quarantine.
I thought that the name of that was a whore in the Wild West that her name was Quarantine and she got sex with 40 guys per day.
Oh, I thought she charged $40, but I guess that would have been pretty steep back in the 1800s.
Well, that will be like, what the hell? What you're doing, Ivanka Trump? Sorry, I can't help myself. You know, I'm a rebel, and I love to be like that. So please, guys, remember every time you go, oh my God, I need to protect myself. Remember, you can go. I was prepared. Are you ready? You can ask this. This is free.
Oh my god.
This is free, and this is just go online, and you get one in your house. You could get two actually per person in the family. Monday morning, you test. You're good. Get the fucking with your life. Stop. You don't have it. You don't.
You are, oh my god, I said the exact same. When all this started, I was watching the news and shaking my head, not believing most of what they said, and I said to myself, and I said this to other people too. This is before, yeah, this was just before we had our first podcast, the Average Intelligence podcast, where we did talk about it. Actually, this podcast, I'm gonna warn you, this podcast will probably get flagged and removed because we mentioned
Why?
because we said the word COVID.
Oh, don't worry, Nina. Listen to everyone. Every time I say COVID, just put McDonald's.
But
No, it won't
anyway,
be removed. We're gonna put beep on it. Don't worry.
oh, I know, but
People,
we had an episode get removed, and it's still removed. But my point is, I was saying the whole time, I'm like, I mean, a vaccine's good and all, but wouldn't the most prudent and productive thing to be to work on testing? Because the metaphor I always use, you could have 1,000 people in a room together, and if none of them have a virus, nobody's going to get a virus. You can have two people in a room. If one of them has a virus, the other person's going to get the virus. And then you can extrapolate that. This isn't something that just spontaneously pops up in people. Like, it has to be transferred. So you saying that, I'm like, thank you. Yes, but
now
we
let
all
me
know.
tell you.
We all know this was a money racket.
Let me tell you a story. And I think I mentioned this before, but I'm gonna say it for the people that are watching this. From now on, to make things easier for Nina, we're gonna call the COVID virus the Caesar virus. All
The
right?
scissor virus.
I don't know. I think it's good. Because if we say the bug, it's too complicated, but the Caesar virus.
No, what did they call it? They referenced, what was it? The beer bug.
Why we don't call it the invisible enemy, as Donald Trump used to call it?
Or as the critical drinker on, which, speaking, this is an entertainment podcast. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save that. That's one of my recommendations. Aha, I figured out
There
the
you go.
last one.
Okay. Anyway, so um, the Caesar virus just started, and I called China. I got a distributor in Indonesia, and I called investors, and we opened a website. I contact the FDA to have these things, and we start selling them for $39.99. And my point was that you order this, you test yourself, you go on with your life. How come new people, regardless of their sexual preference or whatever, they say with really good logic, let's have tests before we start having sex? I think that that's really valid. You don't go and go like, hey, yeah, hopefully I don't got it. It doesn't work like that. You protect yourself and you find a way to do it. And we opened the company, and the FDA didn't allow me. In London, they called me the most visionary man of 2020 because it was March when it started. In May, I already have the Netherlands, Denmark, Germany buying online. But like you say, it was a money grabbing thing, and it was a master manipulation. And I'm going to put this example, people. How do you think you're going to sell more beers? With a commercial that people might see, or if I put a lot of people in one arena with a band that they want to know, and we don't have a way to drink anything but a guy saying, beers, beers. That's what COVID is. Sorry, that's what Caesar is. They put us together inside attention to one spot, make us blindside. This is what blindside means. I'm not talking about the lethargic new generation of saying blindsided. No, no, no. I'm talking about what the word means. And be focused in one situation. If I don't get a shot, if I follow all your rules, I follow the thing. And I know I'm going in layers and I'm going all over the place, but people that follow us know that I'm like this. Varsovia. I'm not Jewish, but I'm really, really literate, and I really enjoy reading a lot about the Second World War. I mean, everything, but I love the Second World War. Readings. I hate the situation, obviously. The Varsovia ghetto, they had a newspaper, and the newspaper say exactly if you were Jewish what you needed to do. You were allowed to walk in the sidewalks. You need to walk in the street. You were supposed to have, and they put the measurements of the star that they needed to wear. The measurements. Maybe a lot of people don't know this, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't think I'm wrong because I'm an arrogant prick. I don't think I'm wrong. But in the Torah, the book of the Jewish, says that you need to follow the ruling of the government that you live in. That's why they follow that rule. Google it. Pretty sure. I had this discussion with one of our guests, Alexander Sakel. He's Jewish. And I have this conversation with a lot of Jewish people, my lawyer, Stephen Silberman, right? So it says in the book of the Torah that you need to respect the ruling. So that's what they were so honest following the rule. Oh, you just read it? You see, that's my
The
co-host.
the
He needed
the
a verification.
well, no, I'm a stickler for accuracy,
I
but
know.
I don't speak Hebrew, so the principle of dina demachta dina means that for Jews, obedience to the civil law of the country they live in the country in which they live in, is viewed as a religiously mandated obligation.
So guess what? When the Nazis saw that, with the intentions of doing their stupid goal, they did that through what? Entertainment and mass media communication. Do you guys remember? And please remember, we went to a lockdown. We didn't know what's happening. We have a press conference every day at 2 p.m., I think, Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're telling us every day what's going on. This Caesar virus alert is just a manipulation for the elections. This is a free country and we can do whatever the hell we want. I'm not telling you what to do. Just when you're going to think about you and your family, remember. Remember the pain, the hunger, the needs that were involved for that Caesar virus when it was over, and still we stayed more than 3 months in our houses. The developers in California didn't get paid. The tenants couldn't pay their rent. And I'm talking about California because that's the area that I live. People wouldn't be able to have food in their table for their kids. Please do not, right, go into a trend. If it's a serious matter, go ahead. Put a mask that doesn't help at all. You can Google, I own in the past a company that sells COVID tests. Like I say, Caesar test. Sorry, Nina. The virus exists. The virus is seasonal now. You need to be careful the same way that you're careful with a pneumonia, with not drinking bad drinks, not to eat bad food, right? The same way. Just be careful. But don't stop your life again because it will be crazy. Remember that we lose concerts, movie theaters. Let's not do it again.
And in addition to that, I'm given to understand that you can you can take UV light, ultraviolet light. It's really great, and I'm thinking maybe there's a way we could put it inside the body. You know, it would be tremendous. It would be the greatest thing
Tremendous.
ever. Which actually, I'm poking fun. I'm poking fun, but I actually go to bat for Trump on that because I did something very similar. So okay, here's the thing. Everybody just not everybody, but the media just lampooned Trump for that. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, no, you guys know he's right. Like, UV light does kill a lot of viruses. So I like it was something that he just hadn't formulated it in his own mind quite to the degree. But here's the thing, if Fauci had been doing his job, he should have stepped in after that, immediately after. It was like, actually, Donald makes a very good point because there is, validity in that ultraviolet light can mitigate several viruses. Now, we don't have a treatment distribution system for that yet, but we are working on something. But for example, They couldn't do a lot of elective surgeries.
Yeah.
What if you put and I'm spitballing here. I'm about to say something stupid, but like put a UV light in the OR on every instrument because you'll notice a lot of the new hand sanitizer dispensers that were brought out during that time. What did they have on them?
UV light.
A UV light.
Or you can just do this
Oh my
and cure yourself. I didn't drink it. Come on, I don't drink alcohol. But you know what? At least this has aloe vera, so my throat will be good. And has 70% of alcohol. So I'll get drunk. Um, I don't want to deep a lot because I don't want Nina to edit a lot of the Caesar's virus, right? I didn't thought about that. Thank you for that note. But just remember, people, do what you think is better for you and your family. We've been talking about this. Start healing your family, your environment, and then you can talk about other things. But if the Caesar virus comes to be a mandate, remember that the First Amendment protects us and we can do whatever the hell we want. If somebody tells you that you cannot access a place because you're not wearing a mask, they be committing a crime, not you. If the person doesn't give you a service because of that, there's not a rule that forces you to use a clothing material unless it's a hazard and that will be protected, right? And
well,
you will not get access to.
not at the federal level, but at the state or municipal level, maybe. But
But
but here's the point I want to make for everybody, and like I honestly believe this. After the first one, see again. Remember how we're gonna bring this full circle. Remember how I talked about the hubris of the establishment.
yeah,
If they pull this again, I think it will make Donald Trump the next president because I think they have it in their minds. Oh, we're gonna do this again. Except, thank God for Florida and Governor Ron DeSantis for this and this. As far as this conversation, for this only, Ron DeSantis, after only a few months, basically led the charge and said, "No, this is bullshit. So we're gonna open up." It was fine. Yes, we know people got sick. Yes, we know people died. Florida has like one of the highest populations of senior citizens in the fucking world. Okay.
just in Boca Raton.
Yeah, but my point is, I don't think a lot of certainly red states won't go along with it this time, and I think even some blue states won't go along with it, and that I think will tip because I know people that are like through and through blue blood Democrats, and even they're saying, "Fucking really? No, I'm not gonna do that. Like, come on."
And I mean, like I say, everyone is free to do whatever they say. This is a personal opinion. And if you don't think that we're telling the truth or you want to share, just put your comments underneath. And you'll be more than welcome. I promise you that Jake will answer every one of the comments.
I'm actually really good at answering comments, either in the comments or on the next episode.
And if you will see my comment, obviously it's gonna be an ironic thing of saying "fuck you," but I love you either way. So really fast, entertainment has a big part of the Caesar virus spread news. Let's just remember, compare, analyze, and let's just keep moving forward with our life because this generation is the survivors of the Caesar's virus. Let's keep it like that in the history books. We survived it. We keep moving forward. That's it. It's been 3 years now.
Yep.
If you realize the black plague and every epidemic worldwide thing, it lasts 3 years, doesn't last more, right? So let's move with that if you don't mind. Let's go to the next segment. Entertainment and social media. I'm gonna start with OnlyFans. OnlyFans probably, yeah, that's entertainment and it goes to social media. Let me go there. OnlyFans was created for people to have what is known today as subscription in your YouTube channel or in your Instagram or even in your TikTok. They subscribe and they get special material. That's what it was created for, to have a unique niche for real fans and not followers. It was to separate the niche of real fans from followers. And somebody really smart go there, show their boobs, and game over. Why? Sorry, Nina. The Caesar virus make people don't go out. In a society, the most important thing that you need is balance. Have a good relationship, good friends, criticizing friends, family, good family, bad family. It's about balance. Good job, dead. When the Caesar virus took a part of us that it was communicating with other people, communing to other places, there's people, and I'm not going to judge anyone. I don't know about it, and I know people are going to be like, yeah, whatever virus. You know what the hell, right? I don't go to street bars. I've been to street bars in the States in my whole life. One in college, and once I came once and have a drink. Somebody got like, "Get you smell like really bad." That's it. That's not my thing. But I understand that people needs that to create the balance. I'm not talking about cheating your wife, having that. No, but they needed that. If you go back to 90, what was the year that the internet started? 1990, 89, 91?
I mean, roughly. But like widespread use of the internet. Yeah, 98 maybe.
Well, 98. Let's say 96. When you wanted to see porn, you needed to connect to the phone, and then you see, oh, the eyes. Oh,
And
she has a nose. Oh my God, a nipple.
that's assuming you
Come on.
connected at all.
No, wait. Come on, do that. Somebody pick up the phone and like, oh, no, no, just afraid to look Pamela Anderson naked. That was a balance too, because back in the day, you go and buy a porn magazine. I'm not talking about myself, right? Maybe when I was a kid, I bought a couple of Playboy magazine, of course. Never Hustler. They were in
For,
Mexico.
for
Close
the
to the heart.
articles.
No, for the pussy. But and I was a kid and whatever, but I wasn't like a collector of that, right? I was a nerd. I get more harassed. I think the hottest woman on earth is Susan Storm and Jennifer. She Hulk when she's She Hulk in the comics. She's the hottest babe ever.
I
Totally
totally
strong and hot.
I totally thought you were gonna say Susan Sarandon, and I was gonna be like, why?
No. I was a geek of nerds. I dedicate a few 15 to 18 minutes to Susan Storm here and there in the past, and a couple of others to She Hulk. Uh, what was She Hulk enemy? The one that born in the Secret Wars? Titania. Who hot mama. Woo-hoo. Anyway, so you needed to do that to create a balance. That was your learning terms. Then you porn came, right? And suddenly, to create a balance, you porn is free. You needed to create a status with something that wasn't free, that give you status to as a consumer, give you status that I can pay, because I can go to places, I can go to bars to meet people, and I'm talking about main consumers because that's the biggest consumers in the OnlyFans area. There's people that had made millions showing their body in OnlyFans. Respect to them, I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't want to
Yeah,
take their job.
it's honest
I don't
work.
want. No, I just don't want to do it because I don't want to take the money of everyone because everybody will love to see me naked. Everybody knows
Listen, we're not trying to crash the economy here.
that. We need the money to send to Ukraine. That's it. Anyway, um, so the point is, OnlyFans is transforming the media so much that then Instagram created the subscription matter. Twitter start charging. TikTok, right? Because remember, everything is trends that is going to be consumers, right? Demand, supply and demand. Did I find it stupid that somebody pays $5 to $15 to pay for an OnlyFans when they can go free for you porn? I think it's stupid. $15 a month could be a lot or nothing to somebody. If somebody doesn't have zero, they have their Chase bank account in minus $20. $15 is a lot of money, right?
Right, but it's a brain hack. They figured out the way to crack the code. OnlyFans isn't even. at the neurological level, OnlyFans isn't even about arousal necessarily. It's about, again, that mental connection, because you think you're talking to this
What you
woman and you
say?
think, what's
What you
that?
say? You use the word again. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, did I say it? Anyway,
Yeah.
so it's about that. That's why there's a lot of, like, I don't mean to say this disparagingly, but there's people on OnlyFans that, shall we say, that in the old days of porn wouldn't have even been looked at, and they're making money on OnlyFans, and it's because of that perceived connection. And unfortunately, a lot of the successful creators aren't even managing their own accounts. They're not
You know
talking.
what? And be honest with me. Have you ever paid for an OnlyFans?
Personally, I have not, but I'm
Me
familiar
neither.
with how the site works.
So please, if anyone wants us to go deep in that, just put a comment. Let's get 10 comments saying, and we can do a whole show about it. And we pay a subscription just a month to see. I'm not gonna find aroused by that. However, I know a couple of stories. And there's a girl that I know her in the singing circle, and I'm gonna. Her name is Barbie. She called herself Barbie, the Viking Barbie. I never see her OnlyFans, but I saw her TikTok before it was blocked. And we're talking when the Caesar virus was on, she got 3.2 million followers in both platforms, and everything was guide to go to OnlyFans. When they make the ban that they could say only OF and all that crap, I saw her because she sing an amazing song, "Creep" from Radiohead. She made that cover, and I love the way that she sang. She sold tattoo, good-looking girl, and I knew her because her dad. And you will know this. Do you remember the movie Batman and Robin with George Clooney? The worst
Hmm?
Batman and Robin. Bane, the wrestler that played Bane. Do you know the name? That guy.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
That was his daughter. His daughter is Viking Barbie.
Oh.
He was married to a super hot model. They have Viking Barbie. She becomes a singer, but she found success in OnlyFans. I saw her went for a low budget video to driving an Lamborghini Urus and having big productions with her shows. Well, with her videos. If it's my type of girl, not. She was a massive creative in the area of social media and OnlyFans. Yes, she was a voice that raised her voice and said, "I'm a woman. I'm a beautiful woman. I will embrace this to fulfill my dreams." Like I say, forgive me, I never saw an OnlyFans video of hers. I just saw the little post, and in a point I get tired and I stop following because it was too much for me. Right? I don't want to see that when I'm scrolling. If you go to my personal Instagram or the band Instagram, it's just music or comedians, right? What I look into because that's what makes distract me from the world, music and comedians. I don't follow super top models, nothing like that. And I start following her for that song and then transform to whatever. But the use of entertainment and the quality and smartness of pivot your necessities to fulfill your dreams, that is something that I applaud to her. And that's just one example. But like you just shocked me telling me that maybe she didn't was managing her account. I didn't know that.
It's I God. I've read a few articles, and then we've heard. I don't know if you're familiar with Andrew Tate, but he and his brother have talked
Yeah,
about it, and
yeah, of
then.
course.
Okay, just making sure. But yeah, they've talked about it. And then there's been a lot of articles that I've read since then about how there are these agencies that
Andrew
basically.
Tate, we miss you, Andrew. I'm just kidding. I don't care about
I was
him.
going to say he's not dead.
I know he's almost dead,
Yeah,
but media
not
killed
yet.
him.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'd debate that. I'd say he's more famous than he's ever been, but I'm just.
But he's in jail, right?
Technically, no. Technically, he's on house arrest now. Well, no, he's not.
Okay,
No, I'm
that's being in
sorry.
jail, bro.
No, I'm sorry. He's not on house arrest. He just can't leave Bucharest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. He was
But
crazy and abusive, but he had some truth in his words. Some things that he said he was right. Some of them.
yeah. But anyway, the point being is that yeah, there are whole agencies that basically run the page for you. Obviously, they take a commission, and some, according to what I've read, some of the highest earners, they don't even plan out their shoots or anything. They just get it's like, hey, yeah, we've done market research. We know what's trending. This is the cosplay we're gonna have you do, or this is the scene we're gonna have you shoot. So it's becoming an extension of the porn industry.
Yeah, it's becoming an extension. I was just checking back in Barbie. So let me ask this to our audience. And what the hell Nina didn't put us to do that? We will making more money than singing after all I did. She's managing our sites, right? I'm looking to the biking Barbie. If you allow me and you go and check it out, you will see what I'm talking about. She got 1.4 million followers in as a singer. Now she has a podcast, obviously. And TikTok, 7.9 million likes. And guys, that's a lot. Um, if you put biking Barbie in, and this is just the only example that I know. I'm not well known about OnlyFans. Like I say, I really don't. Um,
Looks like 330,000 followers on Facebook.
let's do the marketing research on her really fast. If she got 2.4 million, that means 10% of the people actually access OnlyFans. That would be the 10%, 240,000, and the 10% will pay a subscription. So 24,000 people buy $10. How much is that a month?
Oh, sorry. What were the numbers again?
I got it. I got it.
He's
I
got
can
it.
do it. We do it. So 24,000, and this is a rough marketing thing. By $10, I don't know. Do you know how much OnlyFans take?
I do not. I'm not. I don't know what the.
240, 240. Let me tell you guys, we wrote with our team what we're going to talk about, but we let this to be a conversation between friends, so we didn't prepare this. When I started talking about it, I saw Jake going like, what the hell are you going to talk about? I'm not prepared for this. $240,000 a month. You know how much that money it is? Just for their followers in TikTok. Like I say, when you have a following, you get to divide the 10% will actually pay attention to you. And from that 10% will be the consumer. And then if they're paying a subscription of $10, I don't know the prices, but she will be doing $250,000 a month. So, and this is just one. And like I say, let's see, Biking Barbie facts. Um, she born in San Antonio, Texas. Her net worth is $2 million. Do you have
Yeah.
2 million cash?
No. And apparently she was recently on uh, the Plug Talk show with Adam 22,
Well,
which is basic. It's my understanding. It's basically a porn podcast from what I've seen.
I heard about his name. I don't know, but the reality is that using entertainment on her, like I say, I don't have any connection with her. It's not my type of woman personally, but I respect a lot that he raised her voice and used her assets to follow her dream. That is becoming an entertainer, right? Like I said, she's a really good singer. I will pursue that, but after that example, tomorrow Setse, Ego, and me will start our first OnlyFans. We're gonna have Setse naked with a mask, and Jake will be filming this. None.
I agreed to none of that.
But so
I never signed on for Sausage Party 2.
hey, good. It comes with the territory. Sorry, working
I,
hazard.
there's want of understanding in my contract.
Yeah, you know that little small letters that say "Jumal take one for the team."
That
That's
was
what
in
it is.
Spanish. That's not fair.
Sorry, that the law didn't say that you needed to. You signed it. You're fucked. Anyway, we're not gonna do that. The social media platforms are becoming so strong that against my will, now I finally understood, well, not finally, like a year and a half again, how important that is. I was one of those artists that didn't jump for litigation problems with my tracks because they were stuck in a major company that I'm not allowed to say. But because I say it the other day and my lawyers will be crazy, I'm not allowed to say the name. So when the YouTube exploded, I couldn't promote my music. So for the time that I started promoting it, all the fans were someplace else because that's the way it is, right? If you have a favorite taco stand and suddenly the taco stand closes, maybe they come and check again next week, but after 1 week they're gonna find another taco stand, and that's it. So when that happened, I was like, it wasn't that I was obsolete. I was just mad because I didn't jump on it because the problems that we have with my material and everything. And I noticed, I know that people will say, of course, but the power of social media is dictating the power of the other decision makers in the industry. Call it movies, TV shows, podcasts, books, everything. Back in the day, your presentation card was your CD. If you have a CD in Mix Up or Tower Records, you will have a song in the radio. That's the past. You check the boxes. Record label, good album, distribution, stores, radio, tour. That's not like that anymore. And in my perception, not is not exactly right because now you had a full those things, but have more following, likes, subscribers, and now people like Live Nation, CAA, and the big companies that gonna see they don't see the talent only, they go for the numbers. And when you go for the numbers instead of the talent, is when people thought that Queen wasn't good, that Bohemian Rhapsody wasn't a good song, that Metallica will never gonna work, that the Red Hot Chili Peppers will be just a trend, that the hip hop wouldn't last forever, right? Because they were looking at the numbers. So now we fall into the entertainment connected with social media. I'm not a beggar, but please like and share. It be coming to that. You can have a really bad song. Remember, what is was the name of this girl? The girl that sung Friday, the song Friday.
Oh, Rebecca
Yes,
Black.
Rebecca Black. Rebecca Black has a lot of views and become famous. And I saw an interview with her.
I actually respect the hell out of Rebecca Black.
Me too. And more after that interview, she said, "Well, my dream was to become famous, and I got a lot of backlights. But you know how much money she made from Friday?
I know the clip you're talking about. I can't remember what the number was though.
She just made $10,000. She spent probably in that career that she last 3 years. She probably spent 200,000. She just make 10,000 because back in the day, YouTube wasn't the best payer, and the contract was bad. But if you look at her, she's a really mature girl that understood that she did the best that she could. She just make $10,000 and she moved on with her life. Social media and entertainment could be a really dangerous liaison. People can love you, people can hate you without consider the effort. Back in the day, and I'm not talking about being a prehistoric guy, obsolete guy, or obtuse. My point is now, if you're an artist, if you're a porn artist, if you're a director, a podcast, whatever, just consider the social media in the same level of your other media. When we start this podcast, I said, let's just put it in YouTube. And you told me, no, you're wrong, Max. Let's put it in Spotify as well and iTunes and whatnot. I said, okay, if you want to do it, go ahead. The diversification of the possibilities of social media are good if they're using well. If they're not using well, oh, then you have said say with a mask. He
Um,
doesn't speak English. I'll be fine.
yeah, but I have a bit of a spiel on social media. You know, there's a lot of, and as a small business owner, you hear it's the same stuff just for a different century. You know, everybody says, "Oh, I love buying local. I love supporting small businesses." No, you don't.
No,
Most
you
people
don't.
don't. No, nobody really bends over backwards to buy local, and I get it. But social media, you actually can support local or independent artists and content creators, and it's real easy to do. It's a literal push of a button. Like, share,
The like
subscribe,
what
follow.
people
And
don't like anymore.
I know. And here's the thing, and this is the spiel I always give people. And as a content creator myself, I'm much more conscious of it now than I was. And now I make it's not a big effort, but let's just so you're subscribing to a channel on YouTube could be what pushes them from 999 to 1,000, the first step in getting monetized. You know, your share, like we've had on some of the other podcasts, we've had some clips go viral, and they didn't know they were helping it go viral. They just sent it to a friend. If it's good content for you, share it with people, like it, subscribe to the channel if you want more. And if you don't like it, absolutely click away. It's like you said, we're not asking for charity here, but it's so fucking hard when you don't have an established name or a big media machine behind you, or when you refuse to buy likes and views. Like, there are people that I know that have done, or that I know of. I shouldn't say I know because I don't know them personally, but there are people that I know of that have been caught buying views, buying likes, buying subscribers. So,
But hold a second there. When we used to release albums, the record label used to buy the first batches and use that. So let me tell you how the record label did, and humor me with that. I followed you and everything, and I agree with you. Just fucking like this shit and subscribe, motherfuckers. You don't want to do it, go ahead, don't. But you're gonna do it, just do it. Stop being so rigorous about your likes. Nobody gives a damn but us. And if you give us a like, we really appreciate it. The record labels release and put it in Tower Records on Mix Up, that's in Latin America, Tower Records. And the record label bought the first 10,000, 20,000 copies. They bought it back, and those one is the ones that you use for promotion and publicity. So the numbers went up, and people go like, oh, that album is selling really good. I need the album. So I don't do it, but I don't disagree that the first batch of numbers could be bought because of publicity device. You need to preserve the legalities of what you do in life, right? I'm not talking about the people that pays and get the views right away. I'm talking about the publicity devices that help you to go there. There's agencies that have a lot of lists. When we release an album, we just don't release it like that. We do something that is pitching, and you pitch to other agencies. And like, there's a company called Glover, if I don't remember that, because our manager does that and our PR does that. You pay them €2 because they charge in euros for the Spotify owner of a playlist listen to you, and he give you a written review, and if he like it, he puts you into your playlist.
the
And he
keyword
tells you
there,
to
yeah, the keyword there being if they like it.
if they like it. I have so much good backlash, but I don't know if it's good reviews and some backlash, and you wouldn't believe that the worst backlash is in America. In Spain and Europe, they love us. The same person that has 2 million followers in the playlist in Europe that were playing Torn and Kamikaze, here a person with 2,000 followers that he's a bodybuilder, they're like, I don't know, I think the voice is a little off. I will raise the sound of the guitar. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. You pick up because we come into the necessity of the social media to express ourselves. Not because you're allowed, you're supposed to talk. Think about that.
That's unfortunately that is kind of an American thing because Americans tend to air their resentment in the form of criticism of others.
What you know what, Nina, make a cut about that because that's the most beautiful thing about social media I ever heard. That's the reality.
It's true. Yeah, we
I
just
mean, the
did. Well, we just
Karen is
did.
not European.
Well, but we we just did on the latest episode of Average Intelligence. I had to do a solo podcast, and basically I was bringing up the fact that you've got to watch out for resentment personally and look for it in other people because the question I postulated when we were actually in a couple of podcasts before that we were talking about the Republican debate, and I just had a thought, the first Republican primary debate, and I asked my co-host, I said, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to think about it and be honest. Would you have as big of a problem with unsolicited mail-in ballots if Donald Trump had won that election? And he said yes, and I believe him because I had a problem with it in essence. But I bet you a lot of Republicans wouldn't have cared nearly as much, if at all, if Donald Trump had won the election.
Yeah, of
So
course.
it's a legitimate problem, but they only notice it because something didn't go their way.
And that's the way of the world. That's
It
not
is.
America. That's the way of the world.
Yeah, but
Eh,
Americans do seem to have a talent for it.
yeah, Italians are the same. Dubai, they're more criticizing of the world than everyone. Ukraine love to have money for other countries for doing nothing.
Maybe
Everyone
Ukraine
has their own thing.
maybe Ukraine should just start an OnlyFans.
Well, what they're gonna show?
Ukrainian women.
Fuck, that will be awesome. Just kidding. Let me tell you
They'll
about
make a
that.
shit ton of money.
I got a commercial on TikTok about another app that is called Farbo, something with an F. I downloaded and I erased it right away. It's TikTok with OnlyFans together.
Ooh.
Tango, that's the name, Tango. And it was, I open it and then you click on it and the women is like, they're like totally in underwear, right? And people are giving them gifts and then they start shaking and like a regulator OnlyFans. And I was amazed that everyone there was even Russian or Ukrainian. Did I like it? Personally, no. Second, I don't speak that language, right? For me, social media is an interest to learn about other people's experiences and what they drive them to put that they're driving a Lamborghini when they don't have money for insurance or what they drive them. Yeah, it really, that's what I love to search about social media. When somebody goes and says, get freedom, your work freedom, work from house. I make $12,000. No, you're not, dude. You're making 10 and you get paid to say that.
Well,
And
not
then you
only
say,
not only that, let's assume for a second that someone knows the secret. They figured out a way to make 10 grand a month from home. Wouldn't you
she's
want
not
to
going to
keep
tell you.
wouldn't you want to keep that shit a secret?
Or I read this sentence. Maybe I'm not going to be able to paragraph it, but make me laugh a lot. God, give me the will of a 25-year-old your coach that doesn't know shit about life, but talks to me like they know everything. Uh, I've been coached by Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins sold more than 14 companies and he's a billionaire. You can check him out. There's a lot of people with good intentions and bad intentions. If they have good intentions, go ahead, do it, charge whatever you want, go ahead. But if you're doing this because you go like, what kind of money I'm gonna do? There are so many honest jobs that are gonna put food on the table in this first world country, maybe closer to second world country, sadly. But that like our dry washers in the car wash. I don't know if I mentioned I own a car
Really?
wash. I will say it again. Right. Um, so we have dry washer. We have a lot of people on their salary, and they make a good money, man. A good earning. They don't have to be conning nobody. If you're gonna be a coach because you study psychology and you have a degree in motivation and a speaker and social, go ahead. But will you trust me if I tell you, hey, Jay, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm going to show you how to put somebody in jail. And if you call me, I will take you out of jail. Why you tell me, no, dude, you don't have a license. You can't go in front of a judge. Well, in some states I could, but I can't. Why? So that's what I go to social media, not just for the coaches. It really intrigues me how somebody can go, "Ah, today I'm ready. Now look, I can post, right? A big today I'm ready to engage today. Look, I just woke up and my hair looks perfect, right? Dude, how the fuck you woke up with makeup on and the lights that I have already? And we fall for that. And again, probably this podcast, even we have a huge following, or people are gonna hate us. But remember, and have a perception of things. I don't want to tap into more, but if you guys are into craziness, new thing, go to Tango, Fango, whatever, Google it. I don't have it. I don't have the app, right? I'm not an OnlyFans guy. If you think that we should open an OnlyFans, Jake and me, just to talk more about politics without being banned, go ahead. We'll be
we
poor
can
naked.
we can just we can just read the news and be like, so today Russia announced that,
Today, I'm gonna. Nah, no, stop it.
and the
Okay, yeah.
market's showing massive gains.
Today, the market went big. Anyway, so we have a lower point to that. Stop it, Jake. Come on, behave.
And there's a
Anyway.
market dip happening.
And you will have to swallow this news. I know. I'm out of class. Please, please, my girlfriend, don't look at this podcast. Everybody knows I'm Virus Vox, not Virus Box. It's just Virus Box. So, recommendations, Jake.
All
Because
right.
I would love to go more, but I don't want Nina to edit so many Caesar virus things. So, next podcast we're gonna try something, and I want to say this in front of the audience. We're gonna have a person that I met in LA. That she's an actress. That she asked us to be in a podcast to promote herself. She argues or comment that she's been in many roles, that she's been in LA for many years, and I'm really intrigued to know about her story. So we're gonna have um, a little segment with her, right? And then we have a guy, Dan. He's just working. He's been doing some small shows in small venues, and I think will be cool to have a couple of people to help them out. What do you think about that?
Sounds
Right.
fantastic to me.
Hey, it will be interesting. I don't know the name of the segment, but I will have it good and juicy for you for next week. Recommendations. You go first. What do you want to start with?
All right, so for first, I have a movie in keeping with the political theme of tonight. I've chosen a political thriller, which I saw by accident, and I love this movie, but because so I'll paint the picture for you. Many years ago, my ex's father, so like my ex father in law for, but anyway, every year we would travel down to the south during the holidays, and they watched, like I said earlier, I'm a college football guy, but I can only stomach so much before I start to just get mind numbed. Well, they finally stopped watching football, and then they turned on this movie. I think it was on like Turner Classic Movies. No, it wasn't that. It was like TNT or something. But anyway, AMC. That's what's the network. Anyway, so this movie starts, and I'm just looking at it. It's like it screams like late '80s. Actually, it was early '90s. It screams early '90s, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is gonna be boring as shit, dude. This movie is fucking awesome. It had me gripped the whole way through. You may have seen it. It stars Kevin Costner. I mean, it's not a like indie film. It's well known. No Way Out.
No,
It's a really good movie. It's a
really.
it's
What
a
year is that? Do you know the year?
I think it was 91. So it's an older movie, but
Okay.
it's really good, and Kevin Costner is fantastic as usual, but
As
he's
usual, he's one of the underdogs of the industry that always deliver.
yeah, and actually I'm going to look up that date cuz I think this was after Dances
What
with Wolves. So
what's the name of the what's the name of the movie again?
No Way Out. I know it's 1987.
Sounds familiar. Don't you want to ruin it for us? Go ahead.
No. I'm not going to ruin it for you because if I tell you what happens, it will ruin the movie
Yeah, yeah,
completely.
don't. But it's a good recommendation.
It's very
Let,
good.
let's go all this. I mentioned this movie. This movie has four things for me that drives me crazy. Five. First, about a musician. Second is in the Second World War, and it won four Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Actor in Leading Role, Best Director with Roman Polanski. I miss you, Roman. He's not dead, but he can come to America because he's a horny dog. But and Ronald Harwood won with the best writing adapted screenplay. The Pianist, fantastic movie. It's a movie that I can watch. And something happened with me every time I watch a movie. This is a movie that I watch when I'm sad. So when I go and see what real suffering means, he give me a bright of light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm ready to engage the next day. So it's a really strong movie. It's a hard movie. It's a beautiful movie. The music is fantastic. I'm gonna say this to posterity. I never said this in a podcast, an interview. Nocturne in C minor. The day that I died, you guys play it. Interpreted by Janusz Janiosinak. I think that's what you pronounce it. Janusz is the guy that plays the character. I mean, not the he's the musician and the pianist, the real pianist. That song, I could be angry, I could be mad. You play it, Jake, and I centers me to the core. So that's my recommendation of the movie. It's an old movie, but actually I'm gonna watch it after we finish this podcast.
Yeah,
Just did it for me.
it's very good. I watched No Way Out within the last couple of months. It still holds up very well. I didn't think it would hold
Perfect.
up on. I didn't think it would hold up on a review, but it does. So next, I've got technically would be a TV show, but I mentioned it earlier. It's actually a YouTuber who has granted me many laughs. You may be familiar with him. The Critical Drinker on YouTube has
Okay.
absolutely hysterical movie reviews.
Nice.
My favorite in particular is his review of Wonder Woman 1984. So he's a Scottish guy, and the entire review he puts on a really thick drunk Scottish accent. But
Yeah.
the dude is hilarious, and the reason I laughed so hard in this review because I remember I watched 1984. Have you seen Wonder Woman 1984?
Yeah. We talk about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you know the stone, right? It looks like a dildo.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
he
oh my god, I didn't notice.
well he actually referred to it as the dildo stone in his review. I had to pause the video. I'm dying. And
That's really funny.
it's a good watch. The Critical Drinker Wonder Woman 1984 review. If you like that, you'll love his channel. If you don't like it, you have no sense of humor and have no taste in movies.
Fantastic. Now that you're going that route, because I decided to just go with you in your recommendations. This is probably a really bad movie that is so bad that it's actually good. The name of the movie is The Machine. It's a fake story of Bert Kreischer. You know the comedian, the guy that takes the shirt off. So Bert's drunken past catches up with him 20 years down the road when he and his father are kidnapped by those Bert wronged 20 years ago while drunk in college.
That sounds
So
amazing.
it's amazing. The cast is fantastic because we have Bert Krisner as Bert, obviously, but Albert, his dad, is Mark Hamill. He does a fantastic job. Then we have Jimmy Tatro, like John Bert, a lot of Russian people. It's really funny, man. It's I don't know if you're familiar with the machine. So if you know that sketch, that stand-up comedy, he talks about how he got drunk with Russians in Russian, and they stole, and he woke up with knowing that he uses that, and the writers develop a story what happened 20 years after, when actually nobody believed it, and he thought it was a stand-up comedy, but it was real. And one of the mafia bosses want to get the watch that was stolen back. So 20 years after, when he's famous, people come back and kidnap him. It's hilarious. It's so bad that I mean, I really like him. Bert is a really good guy. He has an amazing podcast that I follow.
I love just like don't get me wrong, his stand up's good, but what I love more than anything is just having him tell stories. He's such a gifted storyteller, and I love the fact that he cracks himself up.
And in the last podcast, he stopped himself. He usually is stopping his co-host. He's like, no, wait. And this time he was talking about his hats. He's like, no, wait. Let's talk about. And he co-host is like, you just did to yourself what you did to me. It's just really hilarious. So the machine, it was released a few months back. I went to the premiere in LA. Really funny. If you want to relax after watching The Pianist in my area, then you can watch The Machine and you can go to bed with a good taste in your mouth, in a good way of sentence. I didn't mean in a bad way. Your turn. Next recommendation of the week.
Okay, so my weird one is not that weird, but again, in keeping with the theme, this is a book that I know it's required in a lot of schools. I think it should be required in every school. Good old George Orwell's Animal Farm. If you read this book, there is absolutely no way you could be pro communism because it spells it out with pigs and horses and sheep. Oh my, and dogs, lots of dogs.
Jesus. Yeah, that's actually a good book.
It's so good.
Good. It's good that you're making a recommendation like that. You want to say something more about the book? Because I got my recommendation.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like look, it's not that long, but I would wager that it's one of the most important pieces of literature of the 20th century. I would make that
That's
argument.
heavy to say. You will make that argument. I like that. So 1994, the company. Let me tell the company in America. In Latin America and in Spain was Timus Mas, and in the States was distributed by TSR Books, December Dungeons and Dragons. They released a collection of only 10 books. And if you go online, you can find the hardcover for $14, paperback 23, and perfect paperback $61. Just go for the hardcover of $14. You choose your own adventure. My recommendation is The Revenge of the Rainbow Dragons. So I don't know if people are familiar with this, but let me guide them a little bit into it. You start reading, right? In page 6, it tells you, let's assume I'm not going to go into The Revenge of the Rainbow Dragons. It's a really good uh, mystery fantasy book, but let's say that says, if you want to, just in the context of the podcast, right? If you're going to vote red or you want to vote blue, you want to vote red, move to page 150. You want to vote blue, go to page 83. So you go to page 80, and then you keep going, making your own choice, and you go back and forward in the book. I read this while I was a kid. It really helped my imagination to develop. And something that I don't like about books, if there's something not to like about, because I like them, that when you read it once, that's it. These kind of books you're allowed to read it 6 times, 6 different endings, 6 different perceptions. So I love that if you can find them. It's called The Revenge of the Raven Dragon. You can go to a website called Thrift Books. They have many, right? Thriftbooks.com. I don't know if I'm pronouncing well the Thrift Books. Thrift, like thrift store.
Thrift, yeah, thrift.
Books.com, and you can just type Revenge of the Raven Dragons, and you can buy one and send one copy to me. I would really appreciate it. If you speak Spanish, I will send you a Timus Mas version. Really good book, and it's just fun to move the book around, you know. And there's many. That's 1983 is when they released the 10 books. Actually, I just found a website in Amazon. It's a complete series of set collection, 22 books that were released. So that's pretty cool if you want to check that out.
That sounds awesome.
It's really cool, man. So I think that's for today, or you have another recommendation?
Nope, that is it.
Let me do just one recommendation, and I want to talk about this really fast. The concept of reimagining songs. Have you heard that concept?
What, like doing a cover?
No, it's reimagining. It's similar to doing a cover, but it's reimagining. 2 years ago, U2 released an album that they reimagined their hit songs. They, again, without noticing, or probably Bono noticing, create a new trend that is grabbing a song and forget about it, just keep the lyrics and the notes and reimagine the whole song like it's yours.
Oh, kind of like what Linkin Park did with Reanimation.
Probably, Probably it wasn't a trend at that point,
Yeah.
but today, not today, but Fall in Reverse, the band Fall in Reverse, that I'm starting to respecting the guys. I saw them live, and I mean, just to hip hop at that speed, the guy's really good. I'm not a hip hop fan, but he does really good. And when you go to metal, really talented band, really good band. They make a reimagined version of "Cutting My Life into Pieces." This
Oh,
is my last resort.
Last Resort, Papa Roach.
Live Resort, Papa Roach. They did a new reimagination of the song, and it's really good because you're not gonna listen to a cover. You're gonna listen to a new song with those lyrics. So in that trend, I love that. I went crazy. I contact the band and be ready because in the next 2 or 3 weeks, you're gonna listen to a reimagination of a song that we all love. That I hope you like. Really famous in 1992. It was released. I'm not gonna say more. It's not Nirvana. Come on, we're smarter than that. But I will say that this band that released it as a single, they like. I'm gonna make a how you call it, a little riddle. And if the person, listen to this, if the person in the comments put the right song, we're not gonna say yes or no because we don't want to run for the rest. But if the person is that, we will contact them. I will set a personal T-shirt for the band again. And that, of course, visit our Etsy store. Now we have around 54 new T-shirts. They're amazing. I gotta send you one so you wear it, or at least you hang it in the back, right? So I'm just gonna make a little riddle. This band, it was shit. I already fucked it up, but uh, three-piece band. They love to play with spoons. They are from Seattle, and they changed the history of grunge music. They're from Seattle. They're not from band, so it's not Nirvana, guys.
Spin
Right? That's
Doctors.
from no, but don't worry about it because Spin Doctors wasn't three guys.
I know.
I know what I didn't thought about Princess for a reinvention. Anyway, reimagine sound. So we're really enjoying that. I got the chance to fall into that trend. I saw some people doing some other stuff. I went to sorry, I'm gonna do my rockstar thing. I went to a spa with my girlfriend for the week, and over there I built a little studio and I record the drums, the line from the bass, and the guitars. I send it to Ego. He blow it into pieces and create a really good thing. Says recording. As soon as we hang up, I'm gonna record the voice and be ready because I think this song is gonna be huge. So thank you very much, Jake.
Yes, thank you everyone for enjoying another episode of Toon Talk 2.0. And by the time you're watching this one, you should be able to find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Podbean. I think I said Amazon already, YouTube Music. There's one more, and I keep forgetting it.
Just repeat that again. Anyway, no, yeah, I just wanted to say that. But good. I don't know if it's another one, but thank you for doing that. I think a lot of people will enjoy it.
Oh,
And
and of
I'm gonna go.
course, you'll be able to listen. You'll be able to listen to the stream on artemedia.org, along with all the other podcasts on the Arte Podcast Network, all in one convenient location for you to listen to.
What about we do this? If we let's start doing competitions or things so we can sell them merch from the podcast. I don't know if you guys notice every podcast has a special poster. We were Star Wars pilots in the first one. We're Silverhawks in the second. The third, you are He-Man from the movie with Dov Louden. I'm Conan the Barbarian. So I'm gonna start doing T-shirts about that with Toon Talk. I own a store in Etsy called the Merch Music Store, just with artist friends of mine. and with t-shirts, and all the people start following us in every platform. They contact us on Jake or me to already media, that is our lead, and again Rock Band, and we can send them a free t-shirt, right? The first 10, and after that
Yeah.
we can give them a discount. Good. Let's just start doing this. Virus out.
Peace out, home slices.
I have a dream